Hello, my friends. I'm glad you're here. Take one slow breath. Let your day pause for a moment. We will listen to a calm story together. Have you ever used perfume, even just once? Maybe a small spray before you go out. Maybe a little on your wrist. Today, it feels simple. It feels like a personal choice. But long ago, scent was not only personal. It was part of shared life. It was part of home, work, and travel. It was one small way people made daily life feel a little easier. So let's go back, far back, to the start. Long before tall buildings and wide streets, people lived close to the land. They lived near water when they could. They watched the sky and the seasons. They carried what they owned. Fire was central. Fire gave warmth and light. Fire also made smoke. Smoke stayed in hair and clothes. Hands smelled like wood, animal skin, and earth. Cooking left strong smells. Rain and dust left their own smells too. In that early life, smell mattered in simple ways. Smoke pushed insects away. Strong plants helped cover the smell of meat. Some leaves, crushed and rubbed on skin, helped a person feel fresher. Some tree sap, when it warmed near a fire, gave off a soft scent. People learned these things by daily use. They did not need big explanations. They noticed what worked. They remembered it. They shared it with others. Soon, people began to use scent on purpose. They crushed herbs between stones. They mixed crushed leaves with animal fat. They warmed simple oils and placed flowers inside. The smell moved into the oil slowly. It was not fast work. It was small, careful work. In some homes, scented fat or oil was kept in a clay pot with a tight lid. Sometimes the lid was tied with cloth and string to keep dust out. The pot might sit near an oil lamp so it stayed soft. A person could take a little and rub it on hands or hair. These scents were not made to impress strangers. They were made for comfort at the end of the day. A person could rub a little oil on tired hands. They could smooth it into their hair. The smell could stay on a blanket or a scarf. In a small shelter, that gentle scent could feel like a quiet habit. Over time, groups grew larger. People returned to the same places. They made stronger shelters. They stored grain. They kept animals close. They began to live in early towns. In towns, the air was fuller, more cooking, more smoke, more animals, more people in one place. This made scent even more useful. After washing, people used mild oils on skin. Some used powders made from dried plants. In the evening, a home might warm a little scented oil near a lamp. As towns grew, people also gathered more often. They shared meals. They marked births, weddings, and funerals. They created shared places for important moments. Sometimes these places were simple. Sometimes they were larger, with steps, walls, and open spaces where many people could stand together. In those shared places, scent became part of the air. People burned dried plants. People burned resin, tree sap that dries and smells strong. The smoke rose and spread. It filled a room or an open shelter. The smell told people it was a special moment. It was a moment for prayer, for thanks, for grief, or for hope. In many ancient societies, perfume was not a bottle. It was smoke. It was oil. It was a paste. It was scent on hands and hair. It was also scent in a shared space, not only on one person. As cities formed, daily life became more crowded. Streets tightened. Homes stood close. Animals lived near humans. Water was carried in jars.
Waste had to be moved away. Markets filled the air with food smells, sweat, smoke, and dust. In that crowded air, some people wanted stronger and longer-lasting scents, and some people wanted scents that were not common. They wanted materials that did not grow near their own city. This is how scent moved into travel and trade. People moved for many reasons. Some followed water and grass. Some left after drought. Some traveled to trade. Some were pushed by conflict. Wherever people went, they carried what they valued, and scent was part of that value. A traveler might carry a small bundle of dried herbs. A healer might carry resin wrapped in cloth. A merchant might carry a sealed jar of oil. On a long road, one small jar could be worth many tools. Smell is easy to share. If a trader opens a bag of spice at a market stall, everyone can smell it. No one needs the right words. No one needs to read a label. People can compare quickly. Strong or soft, sweet or sharp, familiar or new. This made scented goods useful in trade. They were light to carry. They were easy to test. A small pouch could travel far. A small jar could hold high value. Trade routes grew slowly, one journey at a time. Some paths crossed dry land. Some followed rivers. Some moved by sea. Along the way, small jars mattered. A jar of scented oil was light, but it could be worth a lot. If it broke, the value was gone. So merchants treated jars carefully. They wrapped them in cloth and kept them close. When they reached a town, they stopped at the gate and waited. Guards looked at goods and asked questions. Traders checked their lids again before leaving. At night, the road was quiet. A small fire, simple food, and sometimes, for one short moment, a pouch opened and the air changed. Along these routes, scented materials moved again and again. Oils pressed from seeds, spices from warm places, wood chips that held a deep smell, dried flowers in small sacks. Each region offered what it had. Each region wanted what it did not have. As these goods moved, their meaning changed too. A scent could be new in one town and normal in another. A smell could be used in prayer in one place and used for washing in another. A merchant might mix local oil with a foreign resin so the scent lasted longer. Over time, people began to expect certain smells in certain moments. Scent could also show a simple difference between people. It could show who worked hard outside and who lived with more comfort. If you smelled of smoke and sweat, people guessed you worked with your hands. If you smelled of rare oils, people guessed you had money or you worked in a rich home. In a crowded street, people did not always need to ask questions. Sometimes the smell on a person gave a quiet clue. It was not fair, but it was real in many places. Later, some cities grew bigger. They became large kingdoms. One ruler controlled many towns. In those places, rare scent became more than comfort. It became a sign.
If a ruler had oil from far away, people noticed. It meant the ruler could get special goods before anyone else. Ships arrived with jars most people could not afford. Long lines of travelers with animals arrived with small bags that were watched closely. In markets, the best scents often went to rich homes first. Scent was also part of public life. Leaders gave rare oils as gifts. Temples burned incense, meaning scented smoke, during important events. Some cities charged money when these goods entered the gates. Perfume stayed quiet, but it still showed who could get the special goods first. And as more people wanted these scents, perfume became a skilled kind of work. In workshops, people worked with simple tools.
They crushed herbs and petals in stone bowls. They poured oil over the crushed plants. They stirred slowly with wood or bone. Sometimes the bowl was warmed near a small fire. Not too close. Too much heat could ruin the smell. After stirring, they covered the bowl with cloth. They let it rest. They waited through the day or even through the night. Then they poured the oil through cloth to clean it and remove bits of leaf and dust. They stored the finished oil in small sealed containers. Some were clay, some were glass. They kept them away from strong heat and direct sun. They did not want the smell to weaken. They tested a small drop on skin. They smelled it after a few minutes. They smelled it again later. If it faded too fast, they changed the mix. This was careful work. It was learned by doing. Perfume also became part of daily relationships. A host might offer scented oil to a guest's hands. A family might burn incense when a loved one died. A bride might wear a special scent. A mother might rub a child's hair with a mild oil after washing. But now we must look at the harder side, because it is part of the same story. Behind many beautiful scents, there was heavy work. Some resins came from trees in dry, harsh places. Workers walked far to reach them. They cut the bark and waited for sap to form. They collected small pieces under bright sun. Their hands stuck with resin. Their water was limited. Their pay was not always fair. Some oils came from seeds and nuts that needed pressing. This meant grinding and crushing again and again. It took strength and time. In some places, families did this work for generations. Flowers could be even harder. Some flowers give scent only for a short time. Pickers had to rise early. They filled baskets quickly. They carried the harvest to makers before the smell faded. They bent their backs for hours, day after day in the same season. And then there was transport. Carriers moved goods across long roads. They guarded jars from breaking. They protected them from rain. They watched for thieves. They slept outside. Many were paid little. Many had no choice. So for a long time, perfume meant two lives at once: comfort for the buyer, labor for the maker and the carrier. This happened many times in the past with valuable goods. Perfume was one of them. Now, let's move forward again. Over time, the tools changed. Glass bottles became more common. When a bottle could close tightly, a scent could stay strong for longer. A smell lasted better in a sealed bottle than in an open bowl. People also began to sell finished perfumes, not only plants and oils. Ideas moved as well. Makers learned new ways to pull smell from flowers. They learned how to mix oils so the scent stayed on skin longer. In busy cities, perfume sellers became part of daily market life. People could smell, choose, and buy in one place, even if they did not make perfume at home. Still, perfume stayed limited for many people. It was often for temples, for rich homes, or for special days. For a worker with little money, a simple herb rubbed on the hands might be the only fragrance they used. Then the modern world arrived, and the change became much faster. Machines could press oils in large amounts. Farms could grow plants in wide fields. Ships made many trips across oceans again and again. Bottles could be made in huge numbers. Labels could be printed quickly. Stores could sell perfume in many towns, not only in major cities. In big cities, new kinds of shops appeared. A person could walk in from the street and smell many scents in one visit. A seller could offer small samples on paper strips. A customer could take one home and decide later. There was another change, too. Some scents could be made without rare flowers or distant trees. New scent parts were created that smelled like rose, jasmine, or warm wood. This allowed makers to make more perfume and keep the smell the same each time.
For the everyday person, this meant perfume became easier to find. It became cheaper. It became a normal item in daily life. And the difference is clear. In the ancient world, perfume often meant a long chain of work, a tree tapped for resin, a flower picked early, oil warmed and stirred, a jar carried on a road, a cellar at a market stall, a home that saved it for a special moment. In the modern world, perfume can be made and shipped with much less waiting. You can buy it quickly. You can choose between many options. You can replace it when it finishes. And still, perfume keeps a strong effect in ordinary life. A smell can change the feeling of a room. It can make a small space feel cleaner. It can feel like a fresh start after work. It can remind you of a person. It can remind you of a place. It can sit on a scarf or a shirt and stay with you for hours. So when you use perfume today, you are part of a very old habit. You are doing something humans did near early fires when they chose certain plants for their scent. You are doing something town families did when they warmed oil near a lamp and rubbed it on skin after washing. You are doing something travelers did when they carried small, sealed jars far from home. Next time you hold a small bottle of perfume, pause for a moment. Notice the glass. Notice how little liquid is inside. Notice how strong it can be. Then imagine a few quiet scenes from the past. A clay pot with a tight lid near an oil lamp. A market stall with bowls of spice and small sealed jars. Temple steps where incense is lit carefully. A narrow street where cooking smoke mixes with dust in the air. These are simple images, but they are real parts of human life. Perfume was never only about luxury. It was also about daily living. It helped people shape the air around them, in homes, in shared places, and on the road. And it moved across a long timeline, from smoke near a fire, to oil in a clay pot, to a sealed glass bottle in your hand. Now take one more slow breath, and let the story settle. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up. Share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.